Do not sleep on this storm setup. I'm seeing a winter pattern that can turn dangerous in a hurry. This is not just a quick round of snow. The impact zone stretches a long way from Texas across the south, then up toward the east coast. And the reason I'm worried is simple. The timing is perfect for cold and moisture to clash, and then sit there. First part is the Arctic air. A deep cold mass drops out of Canada and drives south. In the northern plains and parts of the upper Midwest, that cold can be extreme. Wind chills can drop to 65 below zero in a few spots. That is dangerous in minutes, not hours. Even if you never see a major storm up north, that kind of cold can still be life-threatening. And the bigger story is what happens when that cold spreads farther south. Once that cold air is in place, it becomes a wall. Then any moisture that tries to ride over it can turn into snow, sleet, or freezing rain. Now, let me show you where the moisture comes from. On the map, you can see it on total QPF. Watch the wetter shading build north out of the Gulf. Then look how it keeps reloading from the south. If we zoom in along the western Gulf, you can see that the feed pushes inland. The moisture is strong enough that once it meets the cold dome, precipitation can blossom fast. Before the main event, there are smaller waves that set the table. Wednesday brings a quick clipper-type system for the northern tier. As you can see on the 24-hour snowfall, 10-to-1 layer, there is a thin band sliding through the upper Midwest. Look how that stripe brushes Chicago, southern Wisconsin, and parts of Michigan. Totals look modest, maybe an inch or two for many spots. Still, it can cause slick travel during the morning and evening. Then, late Wednesday into Thursday, another light snow area slides near the Great Lakes and into parts of the Northeast. Thursday is not a huge precipitation day for most places. If you check the 3-hour QPF layer, you can see that many areas are quiet. But Thursday is when the cold pressure builds. The Arctic high presses south, and the cold deepens. That cold push is the backbone of this entire forecast. It is what allows ice threats to show up in places that do not handle ice well. So, even if Thursday looks calm on the precipitation maps, the atmosphere is loading for the spring. By Friday, things start to ramp up across the central and southern plains. I'm watching a long battle zone form, where cold air near the ground meets warm, moist air above. As you can see on the precipitation type, the transition line stretches far and wide. In blue areas, you can notice the snow side holding strong. In the pink areas, you can notice freezing rain trying to take over. And right along the edge, you can get sleet mixing in, which is often the worst for roads. Friday afternoon looks like the beginning of the longer stretch. On the map, you can see that on the 6-hour QPF. The precipitation shield extends across Kansas and Oklahoma into Arkansas. Look how this shifts east through the afternoon. Then watch happens next as the moisture feed keeps coming. Once precipitation becomes steadier, impacts increase rapidly, especially on bridges and overpasses. Now flip back to precipitation type, rate, and track where that pink zone sets up. By Friday evening and into Friday night, this is where the forecast can get nasty. On the 12-hour QPF layer, you can see the heavier shading spreading across parts of Texas, southern Oklahoma, and into Arkansas and Mississippi. This is the point where you can get long-duration precipitation, not just quick bursts. If we zoom into the Dallas and Fort Worth area, watch for that mixed line wobble. A small shift changes everything there. But in many scenarios, freezing rain starts late Friday and continues overnight. And when freezing rain falls for hours, the risk of outages goes up quickly. This is where I focus hard on the ice layers. On the map, you can see the corridor of total freezing rain QPF. Look for a stripe forming from parts of West and North Texas into the Arc-La-Tex. Dallas sits close to the core zone in several runs. Shreveport is also in a position where icing can stack up. In a worst case scenario, some pockets could see over an inch of freezing rain. That is a major ice storm signal for this region. Then I compare it to total ice, Fram Est. As you can see, the higher accretion values concentrate in the same corridor. If we zoom in here, look how that thicker ice area expands outward over time. That overlap is what worries me the most, because it suggests tree damage and power line damage, not just slippery roads. Just north and west of that ice corridor, snow can pile up. This is where the cold air is deeper, and the warm layer struggles to break in. As you can see on total snowfall 10-to-1, there is a broad snow swath from the Texas Panhandle through parts of Oklahoma and into Arkansas. Amarillo can catch a heavier band on the western side of this system. Oklahoma City is in a very sensitive position. It can end up on the snowy side, or it could end up with more mix. Tulsa is also close to that gradient. If we zoom into central Oklahoma, watch where the heavier shading builds on the 24-hour snowfall, 10-1. The slower this system moves, the more those totals can stack up. Now this is the part that can surprise people. You do not always need extreme snowfall rates to get huge totals, you just need time. On the map, you can see the total snowfall depth change. Look how the totals keep rising hour after hour in the same general zone. That is why places like Oklahoma City, Little Rock, and Nashville can push toward a foot in a higher end scenario. Even if the snow is moderate, a slow system can still deliver a big final number. If you check total snowfall, Kuchera, you can also see where colder air could raise totals. When the air is colder, that can boost accumulation compared to the basic method. Saturday looks like the peak impact day for many people. On the 24-hour QPF layer, you can see that the precipitation footprint is wide and persistent. Watch what happens next as the heavier shading refuses to move quickly. That is the slow evolution I keep talking about. Then go back to precipitation type, rate, and notice how the type line barely budges. When that boundary stalls, one town gets hours of snow, while another town gets a long stretch of freezing rain. That is how you get scattered, but severe impacts across many states at once. If the ice axis sets up the wrong way on Saturday, the South can have a real crisis. On total freezing rain QPF, watch for continuous corridor from parts of Texas through the lower Mississippi Valley. Then track it farther east. If freezing rain reaches parts of Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas, the outage risk spreads rapidly. And if any significant icing reaches North Georgia, especially near Atlanta, it could become a major problem. Those areas simply do not have the same tools and road treatment for ice. A glaze can shut things down. A thicker accretion can break infrastructure. By Sunday, the storm's focus may shift east, but impacts may persist. On 12-hour QPF and 24-hour QPF, you can see the moisture shield pushing into the southeast and the mid-Atlantic. Now look at the precipitation type, rate again. Watch how frozen precipitation can hold inland longer than people expect. That can support icing in the Carolinas and parts of Georgia, while snow continues farther north into places like Virginia and southern Maryland. As you can see on total snowfall, 10-1, a snow axis can develop on the colder side of the system. Then, if we zoom into Virginia and North Carolina, check total snowfall, Kuchera, to see where colder profiles could boost totals. Monday can still be messy depending on how fast the system finally clears. On total QPF, you can see how far the precipitation shield can reach as it exits. Some areas may still be getting light snow or mixed precipitation on the back edge. Even after precipitation ends, cold air lingering behind can keep roads icy, and that means the travel problems can extend beyond the last radar returns. This slow pace is what can keep this whole situation going longer than people want. I also want to talk about uncertainty, because it matters a lot with a system like this. The snow and ice line can still shift. A shift of 100 to 200 miles changes who gets heavy snow and who gets heavy ice. That is why I do not want you clinging to one exact total today. Instead, I want you to watch the trends. On the maps, that means tracking the axis on total QPF, then watching the type line on precipitation type, rate. After that, follow the ice core on total freezing rain QPF and total ice FRAM EST. If those keep repeating in the same corridor, confidence jumps fast. If they shift, you adjust your local expectations quickly. But even with uncertainty, the message stays the same. This is a high-impact threat to a large region, and the most dangerous part is the potential for ice in places that do not handle it well. I'm thinking about widespread power issues, blocked roads, and slow recovery if temperatures stay bitter. This is a similar vibe to the disruption many people remember from 2021, even if the details turn out to be different. When you have deep Arctic air and a strong Gulf moisture feed, you have to respect the risk. So, if you are in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, or the southern mid-Atlantic, start basic prep now. Charge phones and battery packs. Make sure you have flashlights and fresh batteries. Have food and water that do not need cooking. Keep blankets and warm clothes ready. Fill the car with fuel before the roads glaze over. If you have a generator, test it now and use it safely outside. And if you can avoid travel during the icing window, do it. Once freezing rain starts, conditions can deteriorate faster than you think. If you enjoyed this forecast, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.